This is an IELTS Energy Podcast, episode 1049. Don't be a status quo student on IELTS.
Welcome to the IELTS Energy Podcast from All Ears English, downloaded more than 22 million times with former IELTS examiner Jessica Beck and Aubrey Carter, the IELTS whiz. If you are stuck with a low score, our insider method will help you get the score you need to unlock your dreams. Get your estimated band score now with our 2-minute quiz. Go to allearsenglish.com/myscore.
Today we teach you 3 Band 9 phrases borrowed from other languages that are perfect for IELTS speaking and writing. Listen up so you can impress the examiner with this high-level vocabulary. Aubrey, how are you?
Hey, I am great. I'm excited about this. We got a really great listener question today, or it's one of our 3 Keys student questions. She posted it in Facebook. We're going to share it with you and give you guys some great Band 9 vocabulary.
Stella, I'm just going to say your name and shout you out. You are a rock star student, Stella. I just had a mock speaking exam with her yesterday. And this is the kind of class that I live for, when I can see the students' scores go up, right? When we have an exam together, I give her some feedback. She works on these specific things, and then I get to examine her again. And her scores go up because she listened and she practiced and she worked hard. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised, listeners, if you get to meet Stella in the future as she shares her amazing scores. Sure. Okay, enough about Rockstar Stella. Let's get to her question. We have 3 amazing vocab phrases to teach you guys today. So definitely write these down. And remember, if you know anyone who is preparing for IELTS or who just wants to improve their English in impressive ways, share this episode, guys. This is episode 1049 you're listening to right now. Open up your podcast player, share this episode with a friend or a whole group of friends on social media, because today's is a fun lesson. So, Aubrey, can you read Stella's question, please?
Yes, she said, I was wondering how to use status quo in speaking and other borrowed words and phrases as well, like déjà vu and per se.
So fun.
Also, are these borrowed terms high-level vocab? Because native speakers seem to use them a lot. I kind of know the meaning of them, just feel unsure or strange when using them in speaking.
Yeah. 2
great questions. How to use them, and are they high-level vocab?
You know, I don't think we use these phrases a lot. Right?
I think a lot of natives don't know how to use per se. Like, I think if you ask the average native on the street, they would have a hard time describing to you, like, what does that mean when someone says per se?
Totally.
Because it's very high level.
They would. They would still know how to use it and still throw it in sometimes, but they wouldn't be able to explain to you how to use it.
Right, exactly.
Let's start there, actually. Let's start with that last phrase, per se. What does that mean, Aubrey?
Yeah, so the way we use it is the same as we use exactly, right? If I'm going to say, it didn't happen like that exactly, I could replace exactly with per se, right? It didn't happen like that per se. This is Latin, right?
I think so.
Sure it's Latin.
I think it's Latin.
Yes, a Latin phrase
and
meaning
status quo
by
would
itself
also be Latin.
Or in itself.
Déjà vu would be French, of course.
Yes,
But per se, yes. So how can we work this in on IELTS? What about, now this happens a lot where students get confused when they're asked that very first question, do you work or are you a student? You could say, well, I mean, I'm not, like your average full-time student per se, but I do enjoy studying English in my free time. You're like, I'm not like totally a student, right? I don't like pay tuition and go to college full-time, but I'm still kind of a student. Not exactly, but kind of. That's what this boils down to. Not exactly, but kind of. Or if you're asked like about something that that isn't totally you, like, do you exercise a lot? Do you play sports? Do you love art? You could be like, well, I'm not an athlete per se, but I do enjoy playing ultimate frisbee with my friends.
Yes, that's so good. And the reason these are so high level is yes, natives use them, but students don't, right?
True.
Second language learners don't. I guarantee you the examiner will rarely have heard any of these on IELTS, which makes them band 8, band 9,
Definitely.
right? You're boosting your vocabulary score when you use these. So definitely listen today, plan to use these on both IELTS speaking and writing.
Definitely. And also listen to our pronunciation, our intonation of per se, because we do always stress it in the same way, right? It's always
true.
like, well, not that per se. It's like really stressed at the end of a sentence. Like give that phrase space, right? We love the intonation on per se. It's slower. It's emphasized. Okay, let's move on to the second to last word she said. We're going out of order.
I like go backwards.
Deja vu. I love this phrase.
I know. I use it all the time, actually.
Do you really? Do you experience deja vu a lot?
I don't know if it's that I experience it just like for little things, right? If one of my kids will spill a cup of lemonade and 2 minutes later, someone else spills a cup of lemonade. So I'll be like, deja vu. It's not real deja vu where you have this eerie feeling of having experienced something before.
Yes.
It's almost more like a joke, like something just happened. Now it happened again. So we're going to say, okay, deja vu.
Yeah. So I think we do use it jokingly like that more often, right?
Yes.
So the phrase deja vu means that you have a feeling that what you are experiencing has happened before. Like there's some sort of time loop, or maybe you dreamed this circumstance and you experienced it in your dream and now you're experiencing it again, right? So that
it reminds me of the movie The Matrix.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see The Matrix?
Yes, of course.
Do you remember that? Long ago. And that was a big thing in the movie that they would see a deja vu. They would like literally see the same thing happen again and they would know it was like a glitch in the code.
A glitch
If you
in the
guys
Matrix,
haven't seen this movie, you have to go back and see it. It's a Keanu Reeves sci-fi movie that was great.
But The Matrix was groundbreaking at the time. Like,
oh yeah,
the moment of where he goes backwards in slow motion to dodge the bullets, that changed action movie choreography forever after. I could go on about The Matrix. It kind of seems like pedestrian, right? Like average, normal. It seems pedestrian when you watch it now because we're so used to these tropes in action movies. But The Matrix was like the first one to do so many things. The way that superheroes land with their knee on the ground like that, Matrix, they did it first. Anyway.
I know it was so mind-blowing for us at the time. I just watched it with my daughter, and she was a little bit like, okay, this is kind of obvious green screen, because she's used to the Avengers and these amazing graphics we have now.
Totally.
I had to sit her down and be like, you don't understand. This was groundbreaking. We had never seen anything like this before.
It was the first. Oh, gosh, so good.
Yeah. Hey everyone, who do you know that doesn't know about the IELTS Energy podcast? Now is your chance to share our podcast with a friend. You can share today's episode or a favorite episode by texting or emailing them the link that you can find in any podcast player or sharing directly from any player. You can also find this episode on YouTube and share it within YouTube. So take a chance today and share our podcast with a friend.
Yeah, okay. So back to the exam, how can we use deja vu? I think this would be awesome, guys, because I assume you are practicing IELTS speaking questions. If you get a question on the exam that you've already practiced, use this phrase. So for example, if the examiner is like, let's see, how often do you exercise? You could say, ooh, deja vu. I was practicing this with a friend yesterday and she asked me the same question. Like this would be so easy to put in there, guys. Write down that exact sentence. Just say, ooh, deja vu. I practiced this exact question yesterday. There you go. Boom. Use that on the exam.
Yes, and it doesn't have to be true, right? That might not be true that you practiced that question, but use it at the beginning of one of the questions because the examiner doesn't care if it's true. They're just going to be impressed that you know how to use déjà vu.
Exactly. All right, last phrase, guys, status quo. This is a fun one just because I really like the idea of status quo and the idea of challenging the status quo. So status quo just means like, what is normally acceptable? What is the most common situation, right? And we often use it in a negative way, right? Like to challenge the status quo. That is a phrase that those words are often used together, right? Challenge the status quo, which means that you want to not be normal. You want to not be what everyone expects. How do you think we can use this on the test, Aubrey?
This would be great for task 2 problem solution essays when you introduce the solutions to say a possible resolution that can ameliorate the status quo is, and then you present your solution.
Yeah, totally. Anytime you are describing a problem, you could use this, right? You could say, let's see, underachieving in school has become the status quo. Or, let's see, that might not be true. We could say lower expectations for students has become the status quo. And I feel this is unacceptable. We could use this so easily to describe pretty much any problem IELTS gives you. I love that.
I could use
this
I
phrase.
could see this, as great for your very first sentence when you want to restate the topic, right? Whatever it is, if you're saying technology use by youth has become, increased technology use by youths has become the status quo, right? Whatever the topic is claiming as fact that has become prevalent, you can use status quo to say like, this problem is the status quo.
I love it. Yes. Put this in your task 2 template, guys. Use this to introduce the topic when appropriate, which it often will be, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Like spending 5 hours a day on social media has become the status quo. Whatever the issue is, you can use this phrase usually. Oh man, that's so easy. I love it. Guys, definitely write these phrases down. Write these 3 phrases down, guys. I would love to hear you use these in examples. Go ahead and post an example sentence on whatever social media you use and tag All Ears English. And remember, guys, if you know anybody who wants to improve their English and sound smart, these are 3 phrases that you should share with them. So share this episode, share this podcast with a friend, guys. You can do that from whatever player you are using. Go ahead and find the share button, guys, and share this episode with a friend. Okay,
and
awesome.
if you guys want to take a deeper dive,
for teaching this language today, Aubrey.
Yes. If you guys want to take a deeper dive into per se, the All Ears English podcast, Michelle and Lindsay, episode 1087 was all about per se, how to use per se in English. So go check that one out. Be sure to subscribe to All Ears English if you're not, because they have so much great vocabulary lessons over there as well. So awesome. Thanks, Jessica. This was a fun one. This is great vocab.
Super fun. All right, Aubrey, have a great weekend.
Yes, you too. Bye.
Thanks for listening to IELTS Energy. Hit subscribe now and don't forget to find your estimated band score at allearsenglish.com/myscore.